We have something today for both the chocolate and the vanilla lovers. Hi, I'm Levy Beranbaum, and today I'm going to show you how to make the all-American chocolate torte and the classic French genoise. They're both really easy to make, but only if you pay strict attention to the temperature of your ingredients and the oven. So join us in the kitchen and watch how. Baking is often more about chilling than it is about heating. Today I'm making the perfect all-American chocolate layer cake. When you make a high layer cake, you can make just one layer and then it has the elegant European style of what they call a torte. The first step is heating the cocoa. And I do that with boiling water because that releases the full flavor of the cocoa. I'm using Dutch processed cocoa. That means that the cocoa has been treated with a natural alkali that neutralizes the natural acidity of the cocoa. When you use regular cocoa, you have to use baking soda to accomplish that. But when you're using Dutch process, then you just use the baking powder as your leavening. Now I'm whisking in the boiling water because that releases the flavor of the cocoa. Use a good quality Dutch processed cocoa. Now I'm going to add part of this to the eggs, but I don't want to cook the eggs. Here again, baking, chilling. I'm putting it in ice water or over a bowl of ice. While this is cooling over the ice bath, I'm going to go and weigh the flour. A lot of people think that they have to sift flour, and actually the only reason that you sift flour is when you're measuring it, because that way you know how much you're going to get into the cup without packing in more. Extra flour means an extra heavy cake, and that's not what we want. Sifting doesn't even evenly incorporate ingredients. It only puts them in the order that you put them in. 5.5. There we are, right on the nose. And I love this method of mixing cakes because not only is it easier and faster, but you don't have to remember anything. Now I'm just putting in the granulated sugar, baking powder, salt. And then I let the mixer do the work, stirring it together. And this way, the baking powder evenly integrates into the flour. Meantime, I'm going to take a quarter of this mixture, which is just, it's warm. It's no longer hot, which is fine. And I'm going to mix about a quarter of it. All of this is ending up in the batter, so that's why you don't have to be so exacting as to whether you're using a quarter or a third. And then the eggs. And actually, I'm just using egg yolks here because egg yolks have a much richer flavor and they give a more velvety texture to the cake. But if you prefer using whole eggs, for every 2 egg yolks, replace it with 1 whole egg and you'll get the right liquid balance and it will still be delicious. And now the vanilla. And the reason I don't add the vanilla when it's hot is that vanilla evaporates and you lose a lot of the wonderful flavor. We're now going to add the rest of this cocoa mixture to the dry ingredients. And by now it's pretty much room temperature because the butter should not start melting. Okay, now the butter goes in. For an American layer cake, the butter should be creamy, but not puddly, not melted. Now sometimes when the mixer is very filled, my trick for being sure, if I don't use a splash guard, that the flour doesn't jump up and out of the bowl, is I just put either a sheet of plastic wrap or the towel around it and start it on low. Because, you know, chocolate has a habit of getting on everything that you touch. I mean, when I work with chocolate, I always get a little bit on me, and that's part of the reason I wear brown when I do it. Okay, now the dry ingredients are moistened, so I can take off the towel, bring the speed up to medium, and let it beat for 1.5 minutes to develop the structure of the cake and even it out. Make a smooth batter. You can see that after 1.5 minutes, the batter becomes lighter in color because it has more air, more volume. When it's more condensed, it's darker. When it gets more aerated, the color is naturally lighter. That's one of the keys to knowing that you've mixed it well. And now I'm going to add this mixture in 3 parts. First on low speed. Most cakes are made this way in my method. But you can see that it's getting a little thick here, because it has the egg yolks. So you'll have to coax it in. Then bring up the speed to medium for 20 seconds. Add the next batch. Okay, and then now the final batch. I can just smell the chocolate as it's beating.